Your business is a reflection of who you are, and you don't take care of your business first, you take care of yourself first. If you yourself lie to yourself and get away with the lie, who else is going to respect your word? Eventually you lie. You don't lie to people, you lie to yourself. As a child, baba alikuwa ananunulia midoli Barbies. I loved them. And then Barbie alikuwa anakuja na nguo moja and I was like, I change my clothes, but this doll doesn't change her clothes. Kwa nikawa namtengenezea nguo. But the problem was nachana vitambaa vya nguo because my dad didn't actually bring me vitambaa. So then I was getting into trouble with my dad. For me, my dad had already programmed that in my mind. Even when somebody asked me, I would say, I'm going to be a pilot. Why? Because my dad had already painted that picture. Right after he passed away, I felt very confused in life. I was like, my dad had already set a path for me and I didn't want it, and I'm here. Now that he's gone, it felt like, oh, so what do I do with my life? While I was grieving his absence, yes, but mostly I was grieving that my direction. He had my life in his hands, so I was grieving like, okay, so Dad, what's up? We can challenge other to actually write a book this year. Like this year should not evacuate.
We should have a book
each.
Okay, challenge accepted.
One book published.
Welcome to Thrive 365 podcast. I am your host, Kevin Matili. And once more, we have a guest, everybody. Yay! A guest. And we're about to dive into a conversation which I also do not know how deep it's going to go. It's rhyming, right? I'm excited for this conversation. And it's with a young lady who I wouldn't really describe so much, but one thing I can say is her name is Joy, and her products look as Joy as her name. May I present to you Joy, as simple as that.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Joy.
Thank you.
Do you feel joyous today?
Always.
Are those specs like lensed specs?
Fashion.
Yes, fashion. Speaking of fashion. Okay. So I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, the first podcast episode we had Shama and we had really an interesting conversation and we were like, I don't want it. And you know, and I am excited that we can have this conversation on one. I'm gonna point this out. One of the things that stand out is your voice.
You don't say.
Well, honestly, because the first time, if you remember, I asked you, do you sing?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't. I'm like, how don't you not sing?
Yeah.
Like, but it does stand out. And I think Justin also, I keep on calling out Justin. Justin mentioned the same thing, but it does stand out, right? And so people will hear you and be like, does it stand out? Right? So I'm excited to have you. Joy, let's start there. As simple as that. I read something. I think I'm just going to go straight. I read something in your form when you answered something. You said one of the, was it the hardest? I don't really recall. But you eventually left your job because you felt your creativity being suffocated, right? Let's start there. Let's just go into the thing. Right.
Interesting here. So why did I leave my job?
Yeah, why did you leave your job?
It was, I think, also depends on the kind of person that I am. So I think a person with a mind of numbers wouldn't mind, but personally, I couldn't do accounting because I couldn't create outside of the numbers. It was very monotonous and very principled. And I'm not good at being inside the box. I'm not good at coloring inside the box. Kwa hiyo, accounting has principles, you have to follow them and you get results, and that's the end of story. There is no, I want to do these numbers different this day. No, it's always, this is how you do them. This is how they come out. You get kwa hiyo, eventually I felt like I wanted experience. I wanted my life to be an experience. Kwa hiyo, yeah, that was the case.
So people people might be confused and okay, what is she talking about? I'm like, okay, maybe I might have started somewhere where like everybody knows this. Well, maybe some of us don't know her yet. So what do you do? What are you about? To be specific right now.
Okay, so at the moment I'm a creative artist. I do string art and we also do rustic furnitures. When we say rustic, we mean furnitures that are mostly based on wood, a certain kind of wood also. I don't go for wood that's painted because I want the character of the wood to show.
The character of the wood.
Because the wood itself speaks.
Wood has character.
It does. It does. The colors, the grain, how the grain is patterned. It has patterns. People say it is said scientifically you can actually tell the age of the tree by the patterns of the wood. So it has character. So it speaks. So I like that. I like seeing that in a furniture. So when I make a furniture piece, I would like to see the character of the wood, I like the color, how the grain is going, and so that's why I based on the rustic furnitures.
Wow, this is just something you woke up one day and decided to do. And what do you do with this rustic furniture? Do you plant them? Do you decorate? What do you do? Like, tell us.
It's a business, so people order and I deliver, but mostly we do orders, custom orders. So people, there are things that I post on my page, and there are things that people come and like, I would like this. Can you do this? So we start a conversation from there.
Okay, okay. So how did this start? Like your journey with this looks like it's a hand making thing, right? How did it start? Where did it start? Was it like when you were like 3 years old and like I want wood, I want to climb up trees? Or was it like when you're like 25 or 21 or 18?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be specific about the age, people with age, but yeah, like when did this start?
Looking back now, as I am a bit older, I would say if you looked at me as a child, you could have told Kwamba this girl, you can't take her to maths and you can't take her to physics, but you can take her somewhere where she can create, she can build, and present something that she has created by her own mind. That because it's not like I was a notorious child, but I would say I was explorative. Like I was good at class. I was doing my school fine. My homework was always on point because my dad was very strict. But I was the girl who climbed trees. I was the student who really loved art. I remember in our school, which I think is very rare right now, we had an art and craft class, and many different other sports. And I was very active in the other outside sports as well. I would do a lot of physical activities and art and crafts. So while people were complaining like, oh my God, I'm tired of painting, I was like, yes, give me another paper. I want to paint something else. So I think if you could be able to notice that in a child, you could be able to groom that into something even better, I think.
Wow. We love you, parents. We love you, parents. Because you said your dad was strict? Did they recognize your parents? Did they recognize that desire or passion for crafts and art and all that?
I was expressive.
Okay.
I said, I remember as a child, baba alikuwa ananunulia midoli Barbies. I loved them. And then sasa Barbie alikuwa anakuja na nguo moja and I was like, I change my clothes, but this doll doesn't change her clothes. Kwa nikawa namtengenezea nguo. But the problem was nachana vitambaa vya nguo because my dad didn't actually bring me vitambaa. So then I was getting into trouble with my dad. And then nikawa namshonea tissue, namtengenezea nguo by tissue. And then I got in trouble with that. But I loved that. And I started drawing the fashion since I was a girl, since I was young. Nilikuwa na counter book ambayo specifically was for me drawing fashion sketches. I don't remember what it is, but yeah. So I think, but my dad was the kind of parent where anataka kitu ambacho ni yeye anaweza kakita productive, as in kina matokeo kwenye jamii, and when somebody looks at you says you're doing something. kwa mwonekano wake at that time. Kwa hiyo alikataa kabisa, he refused. He akanipeleka, his aim was for me to be a pilot. That was his goal, and that is what he wanted for me, and he had decided kwamba you're going to do it. So I didn't really have a choice in that. But I remember right after he passed away, I felt very confused in life. I was like, my dad had already set a path for me, and I didn't want it, and I'm here. Now that he's gone, it felt like, oh, so what do I do with my life? So, yeah, that was the story.
Woo! First, so sorry about your dad. But then, oh my God, like there's so much to what you just said. What do I mean by there's so much? Because here you are, daddy buys you Barbie, and girl has creativity inside barbling, right? I think I just tend to rhyme. Barbling.
You have a weird voice.
Let's just say that. And then because you saw like an opportunity, and it's like your creative part or the creative you wanted to express itself, and what you had was a Barbie doll, and now it was showing up in different ways, like, hey, there is more to this doll than just this outfit that it has, so I am going to figure out. And I think that's how it shows up. Like, you just want to move something, and then there you go with vitamba, and there you go with tissues. And it feels like for parents to notice that, and I was talking to the other episode, right? For parents to notice that sometimes it's difficult for them because that's how they were parented, you know. Wow. So what happened after you were confused? Because we just talked about being confused. But wait a minute. Before we go to that, how, I don't want to get into that if you don't want to get into that, right? You'll just tell me. It feels like dad had created a certain path, like you've said. But then his absence created an absence. How did you feel in regards to him and what he has created? Like, talk about that state in your feeling and how you went around it.
I would say I was still a very young adult, somewhere around, I was 19 then, I would say. So I really needed guidance, like proper guidance. Where are you going? What are you doing? What is your life looking like? So for that, I think while I was grieving his absence, yes, but mostly I was grieving that my direction. He had my life in his hands, so I was grieving like, okay, so dad, what's up? Like, what am I doing? So that state, I think that was the most grievous part of the whole experience. So I nikamaliza, I finished high school, and then while people were applying for uni, I was applying for a job. I'm trying to remember why, but yeah. So eventually nikawa nauliza from different people, like, okay, so what would be profitable? Because at that particular moment I was like, I gotta survive. And I'm going out into the world, but I gotta survive. So how do I survive? And then that was the only voice. So now, if I had so many voices around, so now friends, everyone, so that's the reason I went into accounting. So it wasn't really something. So everybody was saying it's paying, it's a job that kuna kazi nyingi, you can get a job easily. So I went. So I started as a data entry. My boss akanifundisha, akani upgrade to assistant accountant to business strategist. Kwa nikafanya hapo for 2 years, and then nikaenda Saltreats as an accountant and administrator. So I stayed for Saltreats for another 2 years, and then from there, but from mwanzoni my accounting journey, I remember ndo nikakutana na string art. So while I was doing my job, nikaanza explore that part. So I remember nikaanza kupractice mwenyewe chumbani. At that time nilikuwa nimepanga na chumba kimoja. I started practicing, and then I was giving them as gifts to my friend. I remember her name, Anita. We don't have contact now, but she liked them, and I knew what she liked, so nilikuwa namtumiaga vitu that she liked so that she could decorate in her room. So she was like, "This is so cool. I think you can sell it." I was like, "No way, I can't sell this." She's like, "You can actually sell this." So my personal Instagram account ilikuwa ina followers kama 5,000. I remember I was good with artistic photography, kwa nilikuwa napiga picha vizuri, and when I posted kwa nikawa na followers wengi even at that time. Kwa nikabadilisha my personal page to business page. Kwa nikafuta zile picha zote za mwanzoni, and then I started posting the business, and I got a customer. I remember my first customer alikuwa posta nyumba ya sanaa. And the piece was love, ilikuwa imeandikwa love, and I was like, oh my god, amenilipa 35. What? Yeah, so that was it. Kwa hiyo nikawa nafanya string art while I'm doing accounting, and so 2 years in Salt Trades, I said, let me go into this full force and just, yani, of course it's scary because you're living a stable source of income for something that you have to figure your way out in. Kwa hiyo, but I did it.
Wow. So that's like you have gone ahead. Like there's so much you just say, and I like that. We're gonna go through all that.
Okay.
I really want to go back. I know we might be a little bit Barbie, but I really want to go back to your dad. Why? Because he set a certain foundation for you, and you had clinged onto it. You're like, this is what I'm going with. So to you, daddy was pillar.
Yeah.
You know. So here's what I would love to dig deep into. How did this setting of foundation show up while he was present? That what was it? What he said? What he did? Did he point to people who are doing something and say, "Joy, you see, I want you to be that." Right? How did it show up? Like, why am I asking this? Because sometimes it might be hard for people to recognize, or parents to recognize, how they are actually setting a path for children. And because of that, they think they're just parenting, but they might not see that they're actually shaping destinies. You get? So I'd just like to know, like, just curious,
Okay.
like, how did he create those path, that path for you?
Okay. I think he was point blank. He wasn't really giving clues. He, I remember he didn't really sit me down. The reason I'm saying he's point blank, he really didn't sit me down wakati nachagua my advanced level combination, kwamba nichukue ipi na ipi. I don't remember a conversation where, what do you want? Or where do you want to go? He simply said, unachukua PGM and
Welcome to Africa.
unachukua PGM and I'm preparing to be a pilot. That was his desire. And you could see, then for my father, there was no kwamba anaficha or like, it was point blank. And I think the reason was he was a marine pilot, and he really wanted to get into being an air pilot, and anasema with few marks I'll miss that, so akabakia kwa marine pilot, and he liked his job, but I think he was still trying to live his dream in his children still. Kwa hiyo that I'm trying to, like, right now that you're asking, I'm also,
That's a good thing.
you get, but I never sat down to be like, what?
It feels like he was living. It feels like he was living. He was trying to relive his dream through his children.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I can explain it. Yeah. Right now that I'm thinking about it, yes, but I still think that because of the standard that he had set for me, right? And he knew the training that would take for me to get there. I mean, how hard it is, sababu alipitia. So he had a certain kind of training that he gave me, ambayo I still believe it was very foundation of me, very good, and I'm still very grateful for that. So I have grown in a very strict environment, ambayo imeni shape into, I know that I need to be disciplined. I know that I need to carry myself a certain way. I know that I need to respect myself as a woman. So all that he had created around just for that dream still imekuwa a very good foundation for me, though it had created a certain there, but like I'm very grateful.
So here's the thing. Thank you, Buddy Joy. Why am I saying thank you? Because sometimes what you think is working against you is working for you, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. This is something like before we started the podcast, I say this. Joy is very precise with things, right? Because I'm seeing how it shows up with time. You're like, she's like here 30 minutes before. Like, what is she doing here 30 minutes before? Right? It's like I'm looking at the time, 1:54 p.m. But you like your podcast episode starts at 2:30, and I'm like, it keeps on showing up in your time, in your precision, in your communication. I'm seeing your text. I'm like, I see, like, hello. I will be traveling this weekend. I will not be. I'm like, okay, girl, I'm getting you. Okay, and now I know where it's coming from. Now I know. So we really thank God for your dad. And I believe that it's just amazing. I want to touch something else right there where you spoke. I think this is for parents. Parents. I'm just going to write on what you said, right? It's when you are parenting a child. I have not parented a child before, as in my own, but I have been parented, right? So it feels like you might not know that you are crafting a path for them, but trust me, you are. In your absence, you say you've never had dad sit down and not speak. So the absence of a conversation is actually the presence of your parenting in the absence, right? And it really shapes the child. You're like, so when he passed, you're like, you had so much pillar in you, and you're like, so where do we go from here? But then you talked about something. After that, I don't recall you mentioning how you eventually bounced out of that and remind me, I think I just lost that. You bounced out of that. How did you bounce out of that state? Like get out of that state and be clear with, okay, let's go this way.
It was a process.
Okay.
It was a process, and yeah, it took me some time. So that another thing is having to be telling your child all the ways that she should go or he should go without including them in the conversation, so that they may understand and also be part of paving their path. Wakikuwa wakubwa, they will face challenges at a certain point. Kwa hiyo even if a child is small, I would say just ask, what do you want to be? Because I don't remember my dad even as a child. Mnaulizwa baba zenu wanauliza kwamba who do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be a doctor? You want to be? For me, my dad had already programmed that in my mind. So even when somebody asked me, I would say that. I would be like, I'm going to be a pilot. Why? Because my dad had already painted that picture for me.
Literally re-echoed what he said.
Yes. So hata alivyoondoka hakuwa amenitengenezea a system in my mind of thinking for myself to pave my own path. So it took a while. And I would say even few years ago, I would say I still do love creating very much from my heart. I still do love bringing something out of nothing, like literally was just an idea, and here it is. It's a whole piece of furniture. I still love that. But the more I'm getting closer to God, I would say, the more God is now telling me, this is what I had for you. And I just wonder if I could have my dad sit me down, do you think this would have come out? Like, would I be able to hear what God had for me? And if my dad had asked God as well, like, what do you have for me? Would we be able to bring this earlier than now, later in life? But I'm still not saying this to mellow and be like, oh, it's sad. No, I still really am grateful for the path that I had taken. I'm just here.
Curious, pondering.
Yes, but also being, I also want to be a voice as well. I also want to be a voice as well. As Babu, I also believe there's a reason as why God led me past to the path that I passed, and I'm here to tell a story. So, now I would say the third chapter of my life, I'm telling a story.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm actually in it. Like, I'm in this experience so much that I'm like, okay, where do we go? Because there's so many places to go. I still want to touch this before we talk about the 30,000 and 35,000 and all that amazing things that happen in the business side. I feel like the mindset behind that and the process that created the joy is really important, because people are like, I want to sell a product. Until when you have to lose somebody and try to do accounting and now come in one room and believe in yourself and now sell, right? Before we go to now sell is so that process now where you are, dad is no longer around, and now you are trying to figure out, and you said it's a process, right? And you've also brought out thoughts like, probably if dad would have sat me down, no matter how young I was, but let us cooperate and let's bring out this thing that God had that was powerful, right? Like, it really calls out parents like, hey, I don't really care how old your child is, but they have a mind. God has put something in them. Sit them down, right? And then have that conversation, because you didn't bring them on earth. He did. So because he did, then ask him, then figure it out together, right? That's like so big. I'm gonna take it to my child, wherever you are. Of course, you're not born yet. When you are born, just people think that I do have one now.
Right, so he's there in the spirit.
Right, so, so I'm still there, trying to understand how the difficulty of that, because I'm saying that because I know somebody watching this is probably in that same difficulty, where they are faced with A and B, and the pillar that told them B is gone. Now they are thinking, A, I didn't believe it in that match, people telling them D. Like, so how did you navigate, even if it was a process, how did you navigate that?
I think I got to live all lives, meaning I was all these versions, and in these versions, I can't say I left empty, because being an accountant imenifundisha a certain kind of discipline with money and how to account for a business, right? At the same time, imenifundisha, because I was in a space of other employees, imenifundisha mambo mengi, imenifundisha how to communicate, imenifundisha how to be disciplined, imenifundisha how to be accurate, how to be into details, like huwezi kukosea sifuri moja to ruin the whole shit, right? Kwa hiyo it has taught me still, you get. Kwa hiyo
just in case people are thinking it's SHEET.
yes, like a balance sheet or an Excel sheet. Yes, oh my God. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, so I would say I left the confusion after I connected with God, honestly. I know I know I should be able to give like a worldly kind of principle, like straight to the point kind of
Step by step.
Yes, but I really came to know myself better, and I really came to be aware of the what God has put inside of me, and also He pointing me back and then forth. Back as in I didn't let you, sio kwamba sikukuona, and it's not like I can't move things the way that I want to move things. I am God, right? So I let you pass there because I have a reason. I have a story for you to tell, right? And then he's pointing me forward, like now by using all that I've given you, the gifts that you have accumulated, the experiences, the skills, the people. Now I'm shooting you forward into this. So I have gone through the whole journeys without knowing that this is not where I have to be. You get, it wasn't like when I was doing accounting, I was like, later on in the journey, I was like, I don't feel this. Something is off. Like, okay, I'm here, and I know everybody says this is the right thing to do, but something is off. Something's off. I need to understand. I need to know more. So, going back, I think first, if you can have a good voice to speak into your life, that is for you, the person who is a mentor for you. Parents are a very good start, but that my dad was gone, I didn't have someone to stand there and be like, okay, this is what you can do, this is where you can go. Yeah, and then second, you have to start somewhere. You can't be confused all your life and stay in confusion. Like, grab the next thing.
Okay.
Grab the next thing and start. Hata Mungu akija kukukuta baadaye anarudi anasema, oh, okay, you started something, so here is where you get. Lakini ukuta you confusion, you're just closing your hands like this, you'd be like, you get. Kwa hiyo yani start with the next thing that looks like what you want to do, or what like you have 5 possibilities. Between the 5, okay, you're confused, but between the 5, what is the, ambayo inakuvuta, and then start. Because I know with most people we want like this should be the thing, yani nikianza niwe ndo hii mpaka nakufa, but that is not how we are meant to be. We are diverse, and we are allowed to change. We are allowed to be an accountant, and then the next day a pilot, and then the next day whatever you want to be, a gardener, a farmer. You are actually allowed. Get koile. The notion of, I'm not saying jump from one occupation to another, but start with where you are. It will open doors for where you want to be, and it will also open you. It will also open yourself. You will also understand yourself more, because if I am a university student or an A-level student, I'm not as experienced and as self-aware as if nimeshakaa kazini miaka miwili, right? Because now nimeweza kugundua the things that I'm capable of and those that I'm incapable of. Nimeshaanza kujua my strength and my weaknesses and where I can focus on, right? So that will give me a better understanding of where I want to go next. But you can't stay in the same place and keep wondering where or what I should be for a long time. You are allowed to sit and ponder for a while, but don't stay for 2 years wondering, or for 3 years wondering. I think so. And get a mentor. They really help.
Wow, that was a streak. Like, you just flowed. Mm-hmm. That wasn't. It's like you've given people permission to be more than what they have boxed themselves to be. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think we just need somebody to tell us, you know what, you can do more than that. Mm-hmm. Don't box yourself in that. Mm-hmm. Then you broke down the delay issue, mm-hmm. which, I'm gonna be honest, I have sat on something for a long time, just thinking, and I want, when I start this thing, to be bomb, and when I just decided, it's like, you know what, maybe I might not know the actual end to this, but there is a natural inclination that is louder than the rest. Mm. Why don't I just do this one that pulls me stronger to the future and has stronger conviction, and then just trust God that it will work out? Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I like how honest you were. Because in the end of the day, this is your story. This is how you are breaking through in different stages of your life. This is not what the world wants you to think, or this is not, it's yours, right? So how you have gone through it is you. And when you're sharing it, is people will see and say, okay, she was here, she broke through here, but then she broke through here because of this. And I totally agree and believe with you what you said. Because my clarity in what I'm doing did not come because I read 15 books about how to speak or how to start a podcast or how to do content. My clarity in going in the media. In fact, let me tell you what. Okay, it's on my YouTube. I dropped out of school. Probably know that?
No, I didn't listen to that. The very first episodes out.
This is the first time I'm talking about it on the episode, on an actual interview.
Okay.
So I did drop out of school, right? And I remember it was back in 2016, and I was doing 2017, 2016, and then I was doing my A-levels. My drive was, I want to do this thing to do with I do not know it's about making money and creating wealth and entrepreneurship and packaging wisdom and knowledge and helping others be enlightened.
Okay.
I just knew it was like, I just want to inspire people. That was the story that I had in my mind.
Okay.
So I remember when I was in my grade, they call it grade 11, but who to later from 5.
Okay. What country is that?
Country? Here, my friend. Here. Then I was studying Zumbe High School, right, Morogoro, right?
Okay.
So I was in this Form 5, excited about, I wasn't really excited going to Form 5 at that school, not because the school is bad, but because I really wanted to get access to an international school. Because in my mind's eye, if I got access to an international school, I got access to extracurricular activities and things that will expand my creativity. That's what I was looking for. Like, it's like you with the Barbie doll, right? I felt like the right school will give me a Barbie doll that I can play with and give me the freedom to play with. So, but I believed Nectar wouldn't give me that. I mean, I've been through it, all of it, except from 6th entirely, but I've been through it, and I didn't see my creativity being given room to be expressed. And by that time, when I was in my Form 5s and Form 5s, I got access to a network marketing business, all right? And those network marketing business, I don't want to explain network marketing business, but anyway, just know it's a business that is easy to start and you can grow. So they have trainings, like when you join one of those, you have trainings.
Sorry, network marketing, is it like there's this company for Tanzanian, but yes, I was thinking that.
Yes, again, it was GNLD, those ones, right? Forever Living. I joined Forever Living Products, right? And then in that, what I loved about that was the trainings, like the weekly, like they would go and find people energetic and they're there like, yes. And they would teach you certain things, how to speak, how to communicate, how to sell, how to package. And I was like, oh, sign me up. Right.
So it was free training.
I was like, training. To me, I felt like that was my opportunity to be like my creativity to make and trade and do stuff. So I was like, I'm going to do this business. So I started this business. Somebody who I appreciate for, or if she's listening to this, I still remember that moment and I appreciate that opportunity. If you're listening to me, thank you very much. Look at Justin. Right, so I got that opportunity. I went into it. I invested, found a way, loaned money, which I don't really recommend, but I loaned money, got the products, started selling. And I started selling crazy, started selling in school. I would look into bus stands and malls and talk to people and eventually try to sell products to them. And then I tried to do this thing they call a home party, where you invite people and then you present the products, and then you probably they will buy, right? So I started doing that, and then I did all that. Then throughout, I came back to school. I was like, why am I here?
Now the school felt like a box.
Like, why am I here? So throughout my grade 11 or Form 5, I was okay. I was doing it. But then coming to Form 5, Form 6, I lost interest. I was like, I don't want to do this thing. It's not helping me. Not that the school is bad, but I feel like the environment is not conducive for me to express this thing. Crazy. Every time I talk about this, people are like, what? So 2 weeks before the examination, I'm talking about the national examination of Tanzania in Form 6, I left school, packed my bags, went home, postponed it. I'm like, I am not doing this.
What did your parents say?
Well, that is what I do not understand till today. I think my dad has passed on, and I thank God for him. My mom is around. My aunties and uncles have, my aunties specifically have played a role, being the guardians, and I do understand that the other people have played the role without me knowing that they're playing the role, because I'm growing up and probably but my aunt, significantly, my aunties have played the role, right? So being there, I think I called my aunties, my brother, and my mother the same day, and I told them, and I was not asking them. I was just this crazy guy. It's like, I told them I am postponing these exams. I want to do business, something around that, to do business, and then I think I told them that I will come back and retake them, right? But in my mind, I'm like, I already did not study for like 1 whole year. If I do these exams, I'm gonna fail. I don't want to live with the tag of failure. I'd rather postpone the exams and then maybe come back. But in my mind, I was like, I am not coming back. So I did that, and then that created a process of away from home. Now I felt like, oh my God, I've left school. So people were like, you should go back to school. I felt people like are pointing fingers to me, and I was like, I isolated myself from my family and from my relatives, like boom, like. And then throughout that time is when I would say similar as your time, where you're now figuring yourself out, and those are the moments where I was like, now I need to find who I am really, and what am I about. And that's why I say it's not a step by step. That's when God came through. Probably He did come through all this time.
He was there.
He just didn't catch my attention yet. But now I was like, okay. And that's when that process of discovery and learning yourself, and okay, then you get mentors who come into your life. You cannot overemphasize about the significance of mentors, like specifically spiritual mentors, right? They're like there. Like they're there, and they Sunday in, Sunday out, they're there. Pastors. Like you have a pastor who guides you. Like you're like, yeah, I need help. Right? So I really love that. I wanted to expound on the significance of that. And through that process, it's making you who you are, and still is, and still will make you greater. That's the same thing that is making me, right? So, since we've gotten that out of the way, I'm gonna go to 30,000 and 35,000. The experience of selling your product for the first time. Why stringed art? Why not painting? Why not any other art?
Interesting. I think when I was starting, I didn't really, that question wasn't really there, like what art. It was a day I woke up, I'm going through the internet, I like this, I try it, and that was it. So I didn't I didn't explore different kind of arts, to be honest. It was, this is the one, plus there was no one in Tanzania doing it at that time, so I was like, yep, Yes. So for me, how I decided to make the decision.
How was the experience when you sold your first stringed art,
Mhm.
Love, right?
Mhm.
And how did that build up to now I'm doing this thing, this is my business, and I'm executing and I'm giving value?
Okay. So I remember I told you I was doing it alongside working, so it was a side thing at that moment. So um, I think what gave me hope to persevere through it was people liked it. They liked the product because it was different. It wasn't a painting because everybody has seen a painting before. So this was something new. So people were excited because it was something new. So I think that gave me, it told me like, they like it, give it to them. So I went for it.
So how has that changed? Has that changed in relation to now? In terms of your business, what were you offering then and now? How different has it been? Like, talk to us about that.
Um, Yeah, it's different now. So back, very different. Back then, I was an artist fully. I was like, I like doing this. I'm doing it. I'm selling, and that's it. But then you go through business several years in, and then you come to look at your business and you understand now it's an entity that needs a different level of a different level of commitment. So now I can no longer be just an artist. I'm now a marketing manager. I'm now a sales manager. I'm now a social media manager. I'm now like, whoo, yeah. So that ilinishtua, to be honest, ilinishtua because then it took away the time for me actually being creative. And then I'm not in a stage in my business where I can afford a social media manager or a marketing manager. So I still have to do that on my own. Kwa hiyo, the dynamics of me managing, staying still and creating, because creation also needs its own time for you to actually be active in the process. It's not nanunua vitabu 5,000 naenda kukiuza 15,000. That's a very different process. When you're creating, you actually have to be present. You actually have to set time aside. You also have to be to take really good care of yourself inside and your mindset. You don't create when you're not in a mood to create. You can't create when you're stressed and moving around and your head is moving around. So that was it felt limiting at some point in my business. So eventually I was in that stage, and then I had to learn how to manage myself. Sasa it wasn't really I remember mwaka jana mwanzoni was when I started looking for a mentor strictly like for business. And I got one in our church, pastor, and akaniambia a piece of advice that I will never forget, that your business is a reflection of who you are, and you don't take care of your business first, you take care of yourself first. Alafu akasema your business is a representation of who you are as a person, and also your business can't go above who you are as a person. So
That's a mouthful.
I know.
Wait, say that again. Can you say that again? I'm still digesting that.
Yeah, so she said your business doesn't go above who you are as a person.
Business does not go above who you are.
Yes, as a person.
Comma.
Yes. The business is a representative of who you are as a person. Of who you are, yes. It represents you. So the limiting mindsets that you have, that is what your business will showcase. So, and then I remember she gave me a booklet that had questions to explore who I am. And me going there, I thought she's gonna start with the numbers, like, tell me how are we going from 1 million to 10 million. You get. But she was like, I can't, because we are starting with you, because the mindset that you have is what you're going to put into the business, and that's the end of it. There's no shortcuts to it. There's no shortcut to it.
This is deep. Justin, this is deep. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, we can stay here for the next 12 hours. Wow. It's almost as if the entire conversation is saying you cannot be beyond your, like, your identity is the ceiling. How you see yourself is the ceiling of how prosperous your business is. And here we are thinking, I want to be a millionaire because of my business will do well, and we try to push it to the business, but then it's not the business first, it's you.
It is you. Naomba nieleze kidogo because I'm a teacher at heart.
Go right ahead.
So,
Well,
You are. I'm hearing you. I'm like, you are deep. There's so much. Like, this is so much. Before you go on, I just want to point something. When I thought about this podcast, and I thought about the guests to bring, you see, it's probably customary to look for like this 5-star entrepreneur who is in the top of the corporate ladder, who works with 16 bodyguards and drives 3 Mercedes-Benz at a go, and I don't know if that's possible. And then they come in and they, but then I don't want that to be, I don't want this podcast to be that. Ugh. I don't want that. Because there are already plastic personalities out there already right now who, if you dig into their life, you will not find principles and stories that are authentic, that people can glean and people can live with. Like, this is food I can actually use, right? And I feel like when I was in school, that is what I was looking for. I was looking for a podcast. Okay, maybe not. I didn't even know if there's such a thing. Maybe I did. Okay, Kevin, just but I was looking for material that I can consume. That's why I was reading book after book. I remember one of the books that I read, Rich Dad and Poor Dad.
yeah.
Maybe I need to reread it with a different mindset. But I read that book and say, oh, there is something called employee, self-employed investor and business. Oh, then I read Donald Trump's book. What was the name of the Donald Trump's book? Something to do with real estate. I don't think if I finished that book. Then I read Steve Jobs' book, Think Different. Right? They gave me a perspective of okay. And then I was looking for material. But when you would come here in our nation, yes, the materials are there, but maybe they're not online. Maybe those people are somewhere, they have it in the context of this nation, not that one where you go in USA, in Antarctica. I don't even know if people live there, but in the context where it's very relevant, and you can say, yes, I can take that and apply, and it will give me the benefit that is required. So I thought about it, I was like, no, I want people who have authentic stories. So I could almost tell when I read somebody, this one has a story, they have a process. And I know we haven't really talked, but it just appeared to me like, I want Joy to come and share something. Hey, Joy, fill this phone. I wanted to point that out, that we never have to overlook people who are starting or who are progressing and say they're not there yet. Your definition, let me look at you. Your definition of success might be malfunctional. It might be the wrong definition. It might be based on material. It might be based on just the wrong thing. But what you've just said, if your business, that's a good one. If your business, like the ceiling of your business is who you are and your progress, and then we must really look at success differently. And that is the end of my little short info.
And I think you're doing a very a great job with the podcast as well, because I think kule nje watu wanaona watu wakielezea the story and they get motivated to do that as well. But I don't think here we have a platform where people can come and tell the story as it is without thinking, who am I? Like, sijafika sehemu yoyote, I'm not Donald Trump level, I don't have a story to tell, but I like the fact that you're there to extract the story, like you have a story. Yani wewe ulipofikia hapo, you have a story because the years that you have lived, things you've passed through, people have to hear that story, and people they want something to relate to. As we are growing up and as we're moving through life, the reason we are looking at social media a lot and YouTube a lot is like, we want an image. Who can I be? So if you present someone with an image of who they can be and a story of who they can be, au mtu ametoka hapa kaenda hapa, unampatia an image to look up to and a process as well, kwamba so that's who I want to be, and this is the process that I can take and to get to where I want. So having a platform to extract those stories raw and from different caliber of people is very important to our youth in Tanzania, I think. So
yeah, you were gonna go say something like, wow. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I just cut you off. I'm listening.
Okay. We were talking about the person mwanzoni Kati, and when I went to my mentor, when she gave me the booklet, it took me some time to fill it up. It was like maybe 10-15 pages. Ilikuwa inakuuliza who you are, what are your values, what are your principles, and they're just questions that make you explore yourself. And I'm a person who I explore myself good. I think I'm very good. I'm very interested in what's going on inside my head. So for me, it wasn't a shock, but then it was a shock in a sense of, kumbe, these things are supposed to be put in plain sight and be related to, not just moving inside my head. Kwa hiyo nikaandika chini, what are my values, what are my principles, who am I, who do I want to be, who did I want to be, explore those different parts. So that was my first exercise. So then going back to your business, even your career, I think everything in life, to be honest, everything in life, kwamba your marriage as well is going to reflect who you are. Because if you don't sit down and understand who you are, understand the places where you need to grow, understand the places where you need to rectify, and do that frequently, you're going to remain in the same place and have the same results in all areas in life. Kwa hiyo, I believe also even in corporate, that is what they do, kuleta trainings or most of the time kwenye organizations, so you team building activities, and it's just to explore yourself, like where else could you be, where can you go, how much more can you produce. Kwa hiyo, many tasks are important in life to do in the process of finding out where you want to go, but I would say the very first task would be to understand who you are, the values that you hold, ambazo also will come from the foundation that you come from, the principles that you hold, what behaviors you have that are limiting, what behaviors you have that are progressing you forward, how can you change your behaviors, what system can you use, what systems can you put in life to create better behaviors. Asabu behaviors aren't automatically going to develop better just because time is passing. I'm not going to be a morning person just because there's going to be a next morning tomorrow. I'm going to have to set a system. And that is in most areas in life, systems to make sure that you are accountable to yourself, to make sure that you're responsible, to make sure that you measure yourself as well. So I want to wake up in the morning early. What are the systems that I can put in place to make sure that I wake up in the morning early every single day, make it consistent that it counts. If it means to put an alarm in the other side of the room, you do that. If it means a person is holding you accountable, you do that. If it means whatever it is, but once you understand the ground of the truth and face the facts that I say, I am not doing as good as I can do. And then from there, what I can do to improve. And then from there, putting systems in place. And then from there, I remember saying that says, you are. Some of the best, the best systems that you have put, that is the behaviors are the best system that you put. You want a return on your behavior, you want a better behavior, it comes from the systems that you've put in place. I have a routine. If you have a routine, this routine makes sure I'm going to be a certain kind of person that I want to be. If I want to be a manager one day, a CEO one day, a manager and a CEO doesn't wake up saa 4 asubuhi and does whatever they want all day and then they expect something out of it. So you have to put system in place. Kwanzia nikiamka saa fulani nitafanya kitu fulani, and then from here I'll do this, and from here I'll do this, and from here I'll do this. That is a system, and it puts you in check. I know it feels like a boundary. It feels like, oh my God, I can't breathe. But we're creatures who needs boundaries. We as much as we are to be creative and wild and explore, we need certain systems ambazo zita ensure kwamba from 3 years from now, who are you going to be? If you want to know 3 years from now who you're going to be, look at the systems that you've put in check. So I would put it that way.
I am sitting here,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like you're pouring into me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a very, I'm used to sit and speak.
Mm-hmm.
Very rare would I sit in a conversation. Probably it's just me and the people who I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it's just that. But just hearing you speak right now, it's like, oh my God, that's some good juicy stuff. I want more. Because and I like how you think, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm picking your mind as you're speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm connecting dots. Because you came here,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, you just saw a bunch of books up here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, I want a book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pick the book and you started reading. I'm like, okay, that says a lot about you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you say something. You say something to do with teaching, and as you speak, I'm like, this girl better write books.
I ought to. I ought to.
I want to read your book.
Yeah.
Just be honest, because there's so much help, right? And there's so much help to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much guidance.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much insight. I'm listening to this. This is valuable. Like, somebody gotta hear this, right? And I'm glad that we're recording it. I'm just very excited right now.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to hear this. And it feels like I can. Like, do you know how you can mirror and see a friend in somebody before they become a friend?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's what I'm seeing right now. Like, I'm like, I want to be your friend.
We are friends, though.
But like, you get it, like, I want to be your friend, like this level friend. You get it? I'm like, I want to be your friend. Like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Because it's just coming to 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's get this thing going.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, we've been saying we're gonna do things, but we've been saying too much. Let's do the stuff we say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do you want to do? Okay, let's don't get into the confusion and the revolving and blah, blah, blah. Let's do the thing. Like, okay, this. What will this take?
Mm-hmm.
It will take this. Mm-hmm. Can I pay the price? Yes. Then what is the price? Or rather, what is the price before can I pay the price?
Mm-hmm.
It will require this. Okay, let's do it. And then let's do it consistently.
Yeah.
Because that's how it works.
Yes.
So hearing it from you, I was like, yeah, that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm so happy to hear this. Now I'm just looking into the other side of the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to really go in the direction that you presented,
Mm-hmm.
which is you and the business. So you, then your growth, your development
Mm-hmm.
creates a ceiling for where your business will go.
Yeah.
So after going through that questioning process, that reflection process, well, literally after, how would you say is the importance of doing an evaluation of your own self, because you've mentioned how powerful it is, because it even contributes in your selling of your business. How would you say evaluation of yourself, how important is it?
I would say it is the foundation of your business, because what's your business really? It's an idea that came up from your mind that requires you working on it consistently to produce the results. It's of course it's an entity on its own, but it's created from somewhere. And where is it created from? That is where it's growing from. And so if it's created from you, it's growing from you and it's being nourished from you. So the nourishment that you have as a person is the nourishment that the business is going to get. You find out kuna organizations ambazo zinakuwa a certain level and then they stuck because the person refused to change their mindset, to change the flow of things, to change the direction of the business. Maybe somebody came and presented to them kwamba this is where the market is going, this is where you are, you have to change and you have to change now. And I've had these stories from Nokia, wakati wanaambiwa kwamba this is where the business is going, move with us to this, and wakawa bishi Kodak, I think, as well, and then wakawa bishi, and then see what happened to that. It's like a person refused to grow. So it depends on you, your mindset really. Recently you posted kwamba when you do something that you say you're going to do, that is worship. And I pondered on it for some time. I was like, interesting. And it is actually worship, because if you yourself lie to yourself and get away with the lie, who else is going to respect your word? Who else is going to respect your word? Because eventually you lie. You don't lie to people, you lie to yourself. Right? And then what are you expecting to get from that? You get. So eventually, if I say, these are my to-do list, right? I have 5 items to do so that my business today, on this single day, can go from one place to another. And I don't do it. I do maybe 2. And then the 3, I was supposed to push myself. I didn't. I did the 2. It's okay. So my business as well is going to reflect that. It's going to be like somewhere there. It would be, I could be making certain kinds, but it's going to be somewhere there because when you are somewhere there. If you don't push yourself, and this I'm preaching to myself as well. I hope people don't look and be like, oh my gosh, she must be doing so good about self-discipline. For me, the theme of this year was discipline, and that when you say that, it resonated because I was like, yes, if you can keep your own word, everything else around you will respect and will acknowledge you. Creation will acknowledge you. I can't be lying to myself and tell this tree move from here to here. The tree will be like, you don't even follow your own word.
You say that.
Yes, why should I follow you? You can't command your body, you can't command your emotions, you can't command your thoughts, and you expect other things to bow down and worship, and not really worship, but like say, yes sir, we are going to do it. Because your business is creation. The same way a tree is creation, the same way animals are creation, your business is a creation. It's breathing, right? It's an entity. You can personify it in the spirit. So now, I don't see you doing the things that you say you're going to do. How am I supposed to then become? Like, who am I following? If you are the leader and you are messing around with your own identity by being disobedient to your word, I'm also going to be the same. Domana, the foundation of understanding who you are is very crucial. Then you will understand the limiting beliefs that you have ambazo zinakufanya usiwe disciplined. Because the reason sometimes, and this I've experienced with my own self, because I'm still trying to grow into, I was asking myself, I can do certain things consistently, but I can't do certain things consistently. Tatizo linakuwa wapi? I want to work out, I want to read every day, I want to do my business, to finish my task, I want to eat healthy, but kuna vitu nafanya, afu kuna vitu sifanyi. Kwa inamaanisha there is something in me that inasababisha hizi zingine zisitokee. So I have to understand what is this. So self-reflection will always be important and it will not be a one time thing. It will be very continuous. As I grow, as you tackle one thing, and now you're good at working out. There's going to be something else that now you have to put effort into becoming, to just creating that fuller version of yourself, so that you're not working hard, and then unakula chips mayai kila siku, then you're not full. You're like, your body is not doing good. Eventually mbeleni it will fail, right? So you want to be a fuller version of yourself. I'm eating healthy, I'm exercising, my body is good, I'm reading well, my mind is good, I'm spiritually good, and then I'm doing good in my business. Then you're a fuller person. But that will take self-exploration over and over again, multiple times in a year. Not even once in a year, multiple times in a year. Every month you're like, unakaa chini. Vanessa, you know Vanessa, right? She has the weekly planner, I think. I saw it and I was like, I need this thing. Because then you do it weekly. It's no longer a monthly where you've lost track of the goals that you had that month. Alafu unakuja mwisho mwezi like, I was supposed to do what again? This, oh my God. In the midst of living life, kuna goals ambazo hazitaka kwa sababu you're not going back to them and be like, holding yourself accountable, mbona hii sijafanya? So if you do it weekly, it's much more fresh. Like mwanzoni Monday I said I'm going to do 5 tasks, these are important, and I wrote them down. Nikirudi Jumapili I can question myself kwa nini sijafanya, and then I'll be able to see the reason as to why I didn't do it. It's either I'm fearful. Let's say I was supposed to go and pitch at a certain organization. I didn't go. This has been the 3rd week. So now I have to face myself, kwa nini nashindwa kwenda kwa hawa watu? And then you come to realize I have fear of speaking publicly. What can I do? What can I do to explore this and get past with this? Because if you don't explore that part, it will always remain, I didn't go there. You don't even know why you didn't go there, because you didn't sit down to think, I'm scared of standing in front of that people. And then you ask yourself, why are you scared of standing there? But maybe I don't feel like I have value enough. Why do you think you don't have value enough? Do you have value? And you say, yes, I actually do have value. And then why then are you scared? Maybe they're going to judge me. Why do you think they're going to judge you? I don't know. Question, you ask, why do you question yourself as if you're questioning somebody else, and then you get to the answers and then you solve it. That is how you face fears. That is how you face yourself in the mirror and be like, get up and do it.
Justin, I think we can end this podcast. I think we're done. Wow. You were describing a process that I go through. Mm-hmm. Literally, word for word. Mm-hmm. Maybe not word for word, but you're describing a process that I go through. And I think this podcast episode, the name is going to be something to do with evaluation, self-reflection, and discipline. Mm-hmm. Because it's clearly that you have to be relentlessly pursuing a better version of yourself, and you cannot get to that version if you are not facing yourself in the mirror enough times to be like, why is that eyelash that direction? Why, should it be that? Okay, why don't you want to move it, right? And that's what I do, and sometimes I share this with other people, and I feel like for others they feel like it's too much. Hey, too many questions. I feel like for some people it's too much for them. But then like, how else will you know if you don't ask, right? And I agree with you totally, because I would face something, I'm probably feeling a certain way. Mm-hmm. I will not dismiss that feeling. Mm-hmm. I will feel it. Mm-hmm. Then I will want to analyze, what am I feeling? Mm-hmm. And give it a name. Mm-hmm. Is it insecurity? Is it fear? Is it jealousy? Yes. What is it? Until when I can give it a name, I'm like, this looks like it's pain. Where is this pain coming from?
I think that is taking thoughts captive and obedient to Christ.
Oh, that's the verse.
That's the process. That's the verse.
I didn't know that it was that. I kind of knew it was towards breaking strongholds.
So taking thoughts captives and making them obedient to Christ is the process of breaking strongholds. Because eventually, kama hapa nilivyoelezea kwamba you're facing a fear of public speaking, that is the stronghold. But you had to go through a process to face and be like, wewe, sasa because you are there, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to 10 offices this next week until you're gone. You get... Because how else is it going to go? It's going to remain a stronghold for some good time.
You came for me.
Yeah. I'm coming for myself. Just so you know, I'm coming for myself as well.
Yeah. So yes. So I would interrogate myself, like, so why, and then where's this pain coming from? And then I would trace, and mostly I will now just pray about it within me, like ask God or ask the Spirit of God. I'm like, what might be the challenge? And then sometimes it'll just be a moment, it's like a flash of a memory of probably when somebody said something, how I perceived it. It's like, why did I perceive it that way? Why didn't I perceive it this way? And what about it is hurting me? So we'll keep, okay. So it's hurting me because somebody said something 7 years ago that I perceived it that way, and now that's a fresh wound that now is coming to hit there. I'm like, okay, so the root is that.
Yes.
Okay, what did they say? So I will go and say, okay, what they said is I perceived it this way. Okay, that was the wrong perception. The word of God says it this way. So how did I get to this? Well, the truth is this.
Yes.
Then there goes now
Break
the
free.
transformation of the mind.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There goes the shift, to be
Yes.
renewed. Right?
Yes.
Then there goes the transformation. It's like, oh my God. And then I love the relief that comes with it once the transformation happens. Because it's as if like truth comes like a light into your understanding, and then it just goes. Like if I could do a movie around that. And then if it's healing, it just goes in your heart and then just
Yes.
and then just does something. And then there's this relief that you get. It's like you were held by something that doesn't hold you anymore, and then you can feel the sense of freedom. And when you think about that thing, you don't feel the same pain. And you're like, oh, I am free. So if it was confidence, now you can feel that confidence. Now I can face you and talk to you, because one of the challenges will be, I came to talk to so and so because when I talk to so and so, I feel less confident and insecure. Why?
Yes.
So one's like, and then you can see now the changes. Like when you sit and talk to them, it's like, I don't feel that anymore. And now I can communicate what I want to communicate. And you realize, there you go, a lie has been removed.
Yes.
And I am free.
Yes.
Wow. I don't think I've ever explained it like this in my life. But I thank God for this. So with having said that, I really want to still get into that. So how does, I know this is it's still a process for most of us, discipline. And I think let's stay there. I think I'll just keep it there, because that's also been a theme for me this year. Not like I'm going this year to be disciplined. It's like just so happens I realize I need to be disciplined if I want the results that I want. Right? Health. Like I think this is my 3rd week. I'm like, we gotta work out every single day. Right? We're gonna rest on weekends.
Yes.
Right? When we don't, it's like, why are you not doing it? And then you're like, no, you don't feel like, you will go do it, because as you do it, there's something you're breaking. There's a training that is happening.
Oh my God. Yani,
So it's like, no, we're gonna do the 4th set of these push-ups. We're gonna finish them. Like, no, you're not gonna, no. We're going to make sure that we record this podcast with or with, okay, because you cannot really record with or without equipment. But anyway, but it's just that if I don't make it happen, it won't happen. And I think that's what we need, that sense of responsibility. Because we think like somebody else is going to do it. Like, if I don't do it, so it will happen. It won't. You know? It won't happen. You will be delayed. You will lose time. You'll be stuck in the same place, and you will never have the thing that you're looking to have, you know? So, I want to stay there in discipline. How would you, like, what are the things that you'd say you have been disciplined? And you're like, if I look at me, Joy, I think I've been disciplined. How have you been able to be disciplined in those things? And then how would you advise people to be disciplined?
okay.
Yes.
Yes. Although this has been a joy, so I'm enjoying this conversation so very much. We could go for another hour, it will be fine.
Wait, did you say you're going to
No. I'm saying if I had the time.
Well, commitment lady says no. We have 8 minutes, right?
Okay, so to be disciplined, I'd say have your why very strong. I think your why pulls you. So you have a goal, why? And then you ask yourself enough questions to get into the depth of it. So, for example, the places that I've been disciplined have been. So I look at my life as pillars. There's the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the emotional, and then relationships. And then there are goals and all this. So I have been able to master the spiritual and the mental. And I think it's because the why was very strong. So the spiritual would be because I inside me, I believe also with most people, all people, I have a gap to fill. I have a yearning that is to be filled by a deity, right? My God has got, Holy Spirit has got to fill that void. And I came to realize, Manzoni, I was like, I could pray once a week, but then I came to find out kwamba that void is not something that is occasional. It's not like inaenda live in a road. It was constant, a constant. Yes, like food doesn't feel it, boyfriend doesn't feel it, relationship doesn't feel like.
Thank you for saying this.
Like it's just there. It's just there. And when I go to church on Sunday, it would feel good, and then Monday we're back the same thing. So then something happened in my life where I came to understand. I came to experience how filled you can be, and then I wanted that because God had set the standard. I've always been playing here in the ground, and then God told me this is how much I can feel you, and so every day I wanted to go to that place where I'm filled. Because then it became like, okay, that's my why. I have to connect with God every single day to be able to. First, He gives me an identity every morning through His Word, and I'm be where I come from, who I am, why I'm here, where am I going, and all that. So first, that's the reason I go there, and then also He tells me, it's like He makes me feel like I belong in an environment which is rich in that. And it's like He tells me to believe in more every day. It's like, I know this is what you see going around, but I want you to believe that there's greatness, and I've called you into greatness. So that, and also the love. And when you go to that place and you just like, there's a person here who loves me. Kati jana nimetoka kutenda dhambi, you get, and that's like, oh my God, okay, I want that person to love me again today. So that, and then my mentor has been, because I'm naturally an hungry and curious person for knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. But for me, that's natural. Or I would say my dad highly contributed to it. So I remember nilikuwa nikitoka shule, my routine was fua nguo, you have a snack, you sleep. Wake up, you will play kidogo, take a shower, read. There was no going to bed without reading an hour. That would be an hour. And there was no kwa alikuwa and I mpaka sasa hivi I have to have a reading table in my room, in my house, and like it has to be there. So kwa hiyo all our rooms children tulikuwa tuna reading tables, anaacha mlango wazi, kila saa anapita, you're reading, okay, you're reading, okay. Kwa hiyo eventually books became my friend, so I started just exploring inside there, and then later nikaja kuingia kwenye novels. I loved journeying through novels, the emotions, the experience. It's like somebody's taking you to a world in England, and you're there, you're a princess, and then so all of that, I was like excited. I was like, I want to read because it takes me into a different world, a different experience. And then nikatoka kwenye hiyo phase, I came to that phase was good, although it had its negative consequences, as in because I was reading mostly romantic novels ko ili set a standard of there's a certain kind of way I gotta feel about a person before I do life with them. You get? Because that became a limiting part later in life. But then there is a healing grace. Nikatoka kwenye stage ndo nikaingia kwenye stage where who am I? Oh, okay, there's books who can tell me. So I started reading because I want to understand. I want my mind developed. I want to know what is possible. I want to know the gifts that are inside of me. So then it came to that. But there was a transitioning of my relationship with God is what got me into a different reading style. So those places, and now I'm looking. I'm in the process of the physical, the relationships, here and there. Here and there. Here and there, as in I'm supposed to call people and be like, how are you doing? But then sometimes I don't.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah. So that's the relationship part there. So now I'm actively trying to develop two areas. One is the physical, and one is being diligent and consistent in showing up every day for myself. So for example, today nilivyokuwa natoka nyumbani from somewhere Sunday, I got a terrible flu. And so when you're up and you're like, you don't look fluish hours. You know the fluish where you're all over the place and you just want to sleep. It was that. And I was like, I'm going to show up. I'm not canceling this. I don't care how I feel. I'm going there. So for me, that's a transformation. Because Zamani, I'd be like, with this flu, but then look at where there's no flu.
You don't look like you have flu.
Literally. So I remember thinking in my life kwamba breakthrough ni kwamba kuna ile moment of I'm changed, I'm a different person. But no, over and over again you hit the wall until it breaks. So that has been my experience, building the discipline of showing up. Kwamba Manzoni be like, this feels so hard. Like, I really have to go there and knock at their office. Come on. But if you do it over it, the wall will eventually break. And when it breaks, that's the breakthrough. But when you don't,
when it breaks, that's
you don't just go head on the wall and believe in a single day. Therefore, utakuwa disciplined. For me, I'm working on showing up consistently. As for the physical pillar. Also has to you also have to have an understanding of how the body functions, why it functions the way it functions. Do you think it can function better? Do you want it to function better? And then go for, because goals have to come from a value that you have. For me, that has been the process.
Wow.
Do you know how when we're young, like when you do this, like your friend, I don't know, when you do this in your friend,
I love you, cut.
like we should do that thing, like now we're friends. Like, thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing all these juicy things. I think this is what I will go watch this, like when it's being edited, like I'll be like, I want to eat that. Even after that, we'll have to rewatch this. Okay. And I believe so many people have gotten enough value out of this. I thought we were going to talk about your business, but some other day. So how do people reach you? Like, I don't even know if I should tell people how to reach you. Like, but you have a business, you do stringed art, you speak and you share so much content, and you teach, and you're going to have your book probably soon, and we're going to read it. There's that aspect of it that is so strong. Then there's your business. Yes. Right. So, how can people reach you for your business? But please, I can't really ask you for that book if I haven't written mine.
Well, you can. I
think that's a challenge. That's what I'm hearing in this setting. It's a challenge to actually write books.
Okay, so since we're friends, we can challenge others to actually write a book this year. Like, this year should not evacuate.
We should have a book each. Okay, challenge accepted.
One book published.
Okay, one book. That doesn't have to be digital or hard copy, or it doesn't. I have to hold it.
Yes, yeah, and it has to be like, this is a book, even if it's 50 pages. However, it's a book.
Challenge accepted. Okay. That's great. You Okay, that's good. So thank you so much. I don't feel like I don't know if you want to share how people can reach you business-wise. Please do, feel free.
Okay.
If you
Um,
don't want, it's okay too.
it would be fantastic. So I have a business page where I do the string arts and the furnitures. I also have workshops for corporates where they do team building activities, and so because there's a part of string arts ambayo inaitwa mandala, which consist of geometric patterns, maths kidogo, and all that. So it's challenging, and it's also it's an experience that mwanzoni unaanza to like, oh my god, how that I'm gonna make that, because I come with the sample and you're like, this is so, it looks so beautiful. I don't think I can do that. And then we start from scratch, and I am there to facilitate until we're able to produce that. So it builds up resilience in you as well. Like, I did it. I actually did it. Here's my piece. So we do corporates with that as well. Nimefanya na TCC. I'm looking this year to do with more corporates. Kwa hiyo those workshops I would really recommend for corporates as well. And then another side of me is, so this is the underground part. You know, the way that umeanza and you're doing Twitter and podcast and me, so I am in that area where I'm supposed to do.
Oh yeah. Welcome to the crew.
I'm in that area that I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to start producing content. I'm supposed to start podcasts and videos and writing. I write articles. Nilianza writing articles Medium. So ndo naenda kwenye ile part now. Nimeanza my Twitter account. Now I'm going to the part where I have to be intentional about producing content and teaching, and my focus would be femininity, wifehood, and parenting, but in Christ. Like, that is our major, that we are centering everything around Christ. Kwamba, how do we carry ourselves as women? How are we to serve as wives? And then how are we to train the next generation? So that is where I'm going. That is another part of me.
Wow, please be my guest. I am open. Reach out if you need. I'm doing Twitter, I'm doing Instagram, I'm doing LinkedIn, I'm doing everything. I know people say strategy, you should focus on one. Well, yes, but then there's also just do, right?
Until you see something that works, and then you focus.
Just do. So, yeah. Justin is doing videos. In fact, this
the setup. Yes, I was looking at this and I was like, oh, they actually need this version.
Yes, this entire thing, I can just tell you that if it wasn't him here, this wouldn't have happened. Because probably 70% of the videos were, forget the numbers, but his equipment are here, his expertise is here, and yeah, so one day I posted something from my Infinix on my, and he's like, bro, I should, probably there's something I can do there. No, I'm not gonna charge you.
Yeah.
And let's sit and talk about this, and then we're here.
Yeah.
Right. So please feel free to reach out.
Okay.
I really want podcast here and to come. Not just any podcast, content, like real stuff, right? Books, podcasts, an actual Twitter page that actually gives value, videos, because I was hesitant to tell you because I wanted the content side of you, because that is the part where I would want to go on your page and listen to what you say, honestly. Like, so when you start putting content, everybody follow Joy. It has been real, it has been exciting, and I'm excited too. Until the next episode of the Thrive 365 podcast, this is your host, Kevin Matili, and bye-bye.